We're going to tie a green rockworm now. Go ahead and grab your bobbin and thread, and you want to start about 1/16 of an inch from the eye of the hook. So go ahead and start wrapping it around. Keep the excess in one hand, hold it tight, and you're just going to try to attach it a few wraps around, and if it can hang like that, it means you're ready to cut the excess piece. You want to get it about 1/16 of an inch away from the actual shaft of the hook, but even if you have more than that, it's fine, it'll be wrapped up. And we'll want to continue to wrap the thread all the way down towards the bend of the hook. If you have any spacing in between your thread and the hook, so you can actually see the metal of the hook, that's also okay. The whole point of this is really to start to get some layer to add friction for when you tie other stuff onto the hook. And I'm about at the bend right now. So you want to let go of the bobbin, just let it hang right there. Grab a piece of tinsel. I'm using the silver tinsel. You can use any color. The whole point is to make this stand out. You could use copper, you could use silver, you could use pink if you wanted to. And you're going to lay it towards the top or on the right, kind of at an angle to make it easier to tie in. And just leave about a 1/2 inch off and start wrapping the thread back towards the eye of the hook. We're moving away from the bend. So there I've got it at an angle. Again, this is kind of a tough tying part, so just be patient. There we go. You want to give it a few wraps going towards the eye of the hook again. And then just for security, you'll go back towards the bend of the hook that way. And this is going to act as the abdomen towards the end. So we'll just leave it dangling off here at the back. And you'll want to now trim off the excess piece with your scissors. You can leave a little bit on, it's fine, it'll get covered up. Now's the part where we add the body of the rockworm. We're going to do that with the dubbing that you have. You don't need to grab a lot, just a little bit. And the whole point of this is we're going to attach these fibers to the fibers of the thread. So you'll want to take it and kind of spin it in all different directions to make it one piece. You can use spit, you can use water, you can use any sort of liquid that'll help attach it. So wrap it around a few times. Get it as tight as you can. Then you want to add some moisture to it. I'm going to add a little bit of more dubbing to this. I don't think I got enough on this piece. We'll do the same process, just kind of wrapping it around that existing piece. The fibers will start to collect together. All right, that should be pretty good. It's a little bit loose, but with the thread, we can wrap it around and make it tight. So same process, we're gonna take the thread back and wrap it towards the eye of the hook again. You wanna wait for the dubbing to catch up. And think about the shape of the rockworm. It's kind of a teardrop shape with the tail end being thinner than the body of it. So we want to recreate that shape. And all the excess fibers, don't worry about that. We can take care of those as a cosmetic piece towards the end. Now I'm starting to get towards the body of this, and I want to make that a thicker piece. So I'm going to give it more wraps than we did in the tail part. And really build up that base. I'm going to come back towards the tail and just make that a little bit tighter. And then back towards the base again, the middle of the body. So we're running out of dubbing on this part. We need to put more in here in a second. Yeah, the dubbing's out now. So again, you're going to take just a little bit. And you want to attach it to the thread just like we did before. Put some moisture on it, really help those fibers attach. That should be pretty good. Now remember, we're in the body, so we're gonna make this part really thick. Give that teardrop shape. It's looking pretty good. So we're gonna start tapering it out towards the eye of the hook. You wanna leave about 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch space at this part. You can see the body separating a little bit, so I'm gonna run back real quick and tighten it up. And that's what happens when the fibers start separating. So we're gonna back it out a bit, really try to tighten these back in. It's okay if they separate. We can always cut off the excess. So you'll see I even have some of the dubbing hanging off because it's separated from the thread. We'll deal with that at the end. Now we're gonna focus on the body and just tightening that up a bit. So I'm wrapping towards the eye of the hook here. You can see at the end. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space there. And since my dubbing's separated, I'll go ahead and trim that excess piece off, just so it's not in the way of anything else that we do. So now we're at the head of the rockworm, and this is really where you wanna use the peacock curls. So grab a few, maybe 3 or 4. Keep them at the same length at the end. It's easy to collect the white pieces of them together to form a similar length. And we're gonna tie them in by placing them towards the eye. Just leave about 1/2 inch off. We're gonna use the black thread to secure them in. So just give that a few wraps. And at this point, we'll go ahead and trim off this excess piece because we're going to use the other ends of the herl to make the eye. So maybe leave just a little bit of space so they don't slip out. And then you're going to take the herl, the rest of the herl, and start wrapping them in. Remember, this is the eye of the rockworm, so it's kind of the head piece. We'll make it a little bit thicker. And that's a pretty good shape of the head. So we'll use the black thread again, wrapping that back. To tie back the the hurls. Give it a few wraps. It's in there pretty securely. So we'll go ahead and trim off the now excess piece of the hurl. Remember the tinsel that we had? Well, this is the part about creating the abdomen of the body. So we'll begin wrapping this around, and you're going to want to do 2 wraps of tinsel for each piece of the abdomen. And this is going to tighten up the body shape that we have. So there's the first wrap, then we'll do a wider space. Second wrap right into that same tinsel space. Now we're getting into the thick part of it. Great. So we're going to stop right at the head of the peacock curl. We're going to wrap it around to secure the tinsel in place. And a good spot for that is right behind where we tied in the peacock curls. All right, so that's in place now. The tinsel shouldn't move. We'll trim off this excess. And you should be able to see part of the eye of the hook. We're now ready to finish tying this fly. So we're going to bring the black thread closer to the eye of the hook. And if you're over the eye of the hook, you can use your bodkin to kind of point it back. Make some space for yourself. So this last part for securing the thread so it doesn't come untied is you want to take it, make a loop, like that, and then place the loop over the eye of the hook and pull it tight. Let's do that again. So take it, you have it pretty tight, make the loop, and put it back over the head and pull it tight. Do that a few times. And now your thread won't move throughout. So go ahead and trim off the thread. And this is now like the cosmetic piece where we will trim off all the excess pieces that might not make it look like a rockhorn. All these wiry hairs that are sticking off are good places to start. And I can still see a little bit of this peacock curl sticking out from up top. So I'm going to trim that, making sure that I don't cut my thread when I do that. And that's the rockhorn.